One. Hey, everybody.
Hey, y'all.
If you'll notice, we're on camera today.
Yes.
Welcome to the back porch, and we're on the actual back porch today.
Yes, it's beautiful. This is where it all began, y'all.
Yes, Mary and I sitting out here and just
solving the world's problems.
Yes, and we haven't solved many of them, just so you know. But
we're working on it.
We are, and we've had a lot of great conversations out here. So we're glad the weather's opened up. I'm still in a hoodie because it's shady and I'm a little cold, but we're just glad to have everybody here on the back porch where it all started. Season 2 starts today.
Yes, and what are we talking about today?
Finding your path to peace.
Yeah.
And Mary and I are both on that journey.
Yeah.
And if you've listened to season 1, you've heard some about that through our therapy and just, figuring out this is really weird. Just looking at herself on camera. I'll get used to it.
Yeah,
I'm going to look at you, Mary.
Look at me.
Look at you. But no, so we talked about a lot about, healing and stuff in season 1. And today we're going to talk about a path to peace.
Yeah,
look,
and how it doesn't look the same with everyone. What do you say?
I've got my Crocs on, the socks.
Nice.
Listen, this is us. This is Mary and Kim. We are
my
in
shirt.
Yes,
Let
I
me
love the
overthink
Smurfs.
this.
We're in our element.
Yeah.
Just comfortable on the back porch. Mary's got her coffee.
Yes, I got to have my coffee.
What else do we need? So the path to peace.
Yes. I mean, we talked about, I think it's different for everybody. Of course, I've had a very traumatic experience in my past, lots of them, and we talked about that a lot. And I think everybody's got their own path. Like for me, it started out with God, but God also had a rough place because I had a rough start in church. You
had some church trauma.
Yeah,
I did too.
Yeah,
yes.
And so it's like the thing that a lot of people turn to. Like I went to it, but I almost went overboard. Too far into it, and it didn't bring me peace. Not that God didn't bring me peace, but that lifestyle did not. I'm not saying it didn't help me in some ways, but it wasn't my pathway to peace, I guess you could say.
Mine very similar. I grew up in church and did church throughout my adult life up until 4 years ago almost, and I stepped away from it. And same thing. I never found true peace in that. Now I'm not saying people can't find peace in that.
No, me either.
Because, like we said, everybody's journey is different.
And my thing was, I found peace in God, but not so much in that process.
Yeah, that
but
makes sense.
It was not a lasting peace because I wasn't doing anything to change me and all the crap that made me dysfunctional, hurt, whatever. I wasn't fixing the problem. I wasn't getting to the root. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, we're taught in church growing up. I mean, I think any church that you, I'm going to collapse a chair. But no, we're taught, and I think we've said this before, that, when you go to an altar call, I don't know if your church has an altar call. We grew up with altar calls. Like at the end of the service, you go and, give all your cares to God, basically, get prayed for. And I'm not knocking it. Listen, I believe there's power and positivity and people gathering and wanting good things for people, the power of prayer, if you will.
Yes.
Even whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it was almost taught you just lay down all your troubles at the altar and they're magically going to disappear. Yeah. And they're not going to follow you out of the building.
Yeah, and I always felt like a failure because
they followed you out of the building.
Yeah, I would get home and I would feel awful, and I'm like, but I did this thing that I'm supposed to do to make me better, but it wasn't. And that's, I think, one of my main problems is I focus so much on men in the church. I don't mean men, but people.
It's
I mean focus on people, like man as in humankind, and making people happy and doing this for the church and doing that for the church. And not that there's anything wrong with doing something for the church, but instead of focusing on God, who God was, and His Spirit, to me, like we talked about God's Spirit, it's in everybody.
Right.
Instead of focusing on that, I was so focused on all the trappings of it, and I'm supposed to do this pattern and everything will be okay.
Right. And it's not sometimes. No, and as I said, we're not this is not a let's.
Yeah, I'm not trying.
We're not trying to shit on church.
No, not at all.
If you go and you find peace in it, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I would not try to talk anybody out of it.
But what are the things that have given us peace?
You want to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go. So we all know I'm a therapy advocate, right?
Yes.
But
me too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's changed my life. But more than anything, I think what has changed, I spent most of my life shoving all my problems down, not feeling my feelings, and just hiding. hiding from my pain, hiding from my trauma, and that stuff's going to come out. It's just going to.
It's like
at times you don't want it to.
It's like you can use any kind of theory. A trash can,
right?
A trash can can only hold so much.
That's right.
And it's going to start overflowing.
Yeah.
And it can hold quite. You can smush it, smush it,
and it's going to stink.
Yeah.
And it's going to get on other people.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like you said that thing about bleeding on people who didn't touch you. You yes. That one time, and that is so true. We've talked about hurt people. But when I ended up having to go to the psychiatric. They called it the partial hospital. And for the first time in my life, I had done real group therapy and talking about this stuff that was so traumatic that had never really seen the light of day around these people and these people accepting me and not freaking out and not thinking I was awful. You know, it began a healing thing that took several years. I would be in and out of therapy and stuff. I had to pick up that shovel and I had to start shoveling crap out of the trash.
Yes.
Like, okay, let's get this. Let's throw it out here. Everybody can see it, and nobody's running away from me, and nobody's afraid of me, and nobody's, hating me for this trash that stinks,
And not only do you have to shovel it out, you kind of got to dig through it, too. You can't just shovel it and throw whatever. You've got to dig through it and say...
Find the valuable pieces, right?
Well, and find the pieces that really are trash and say, this does not serve me anymore.
Right.
I'm going to throw it out.
Yeah.
And it's not like I throw it out and it's gone forever. Right. It's going to come back. Yeah. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Always.
So you've got to. It's a process. It's almost like training your brain is a muscle, right? It's an organ.
It's an organ. I don't think it's a muscle.
Okay. Well, for this exercise today, your brain is a muscle, and just like any muscle on your body, you've got to work it out.
Yeah.
If you don't work it out,
and you can actually make new pathways. Somebody was talking about this the other day, like. Our brains, when you have negative thinking, it causes a certain way. When you start replacing those negative thoughts with better thoughts and healthier thoughts, it can make new connections in your actual physical makeup. It's crazy.
Let me tell you what I'm doing. Part of the therapy has been part of my healing process also, and I thank you for getting me into it.
Yeah.
A little background. Last summer, so almost a year ago, we were sitting here on this very back porch, and I was depressed. There's no other way to explain it, except I was just, look, my ADHD just showed up. There's like an angel of light coming down on us, the sun. But anyway, where was I?
You were sitting here.
I was sitting here on the back porch. I was depressed. And Mary was sitting here with me, and I remember I was boohooing. I was just like, my life wasn't bad.
Right.
I mean, there was nothing that I could pinpoint and say, this is why I'm depressed. I had some life changes that were normal, but this was kicking. This was kicking me. Couldn't get up. And we talked, and I remember you were just feeding me such good information. And I'm like, who is this person? I've known you for 20-something years. And not that you're not smart, but I mean, I've watched your struggles with health, mental health, And I'm like, this is not my same friend. Yeah. Something is changing in her, and I want a piece of it.
Yeah.
And I remember I asked you, and I am not that kind of person. I have fought therapy. I'll be honest, my entire life. It was just like, I don't need that. I don't need that. That's for people who have really been through hard stuff, But I said, what's that guy's name and number? I'm texting right now. And I did. And that was a catalyst for saying, okay, I can change.
Yeah, and it's okay to need help to change.
Yes.
It's okay to need help.
So therapy, definitely, that has been a big factor for me.
Yeah.
I've been doing some meditation.
Yeah.
Too. I tell you what. That and my brain does not shut off. But this helps me kind of shut off my brain.
Yeah.
And just let me focus on the here and now.
And be present.
Yes, and be present. And then also, do y'all remember Saturday Night Live? It's still on, but do y'all remember Stuart Smiley? Do you remember that guy?
Is that the one that was like, look what I can do?
No. That was Mad TV. Okay. That was Stuart on Mad TV.
Okay,
I love him. But no, Stuart Smiley, I can't remember. He was a little guy in the mirror. I mean, and he would say, I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and doggone it.
I remember that part. Yeah.
Affirmations. Yeah. But I mean, it sounds silly. But let me ask you something.
Okay.
If you go to the mirror every morning and look at yourself and say, Mary, you are a piece of crap. Right. You ain't worth nothing. You got this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. What's that going to do for you?
Right. It's going to make you miserable.
Yes, but if you can go and say, Mary, you're loved, you're work loving, you know, you have,
yeah.
it does change things.
It does. It 100%. I'm all about, and I like you said, I used to think it was silly, but like when you talk good about other people, I mean, you do that, so why not talk good about
Right.
yourself and get that experience of, wow, I might be okay. Like maybe I'm not horrible. You
Right,
know?
and it builds you up. Listen,
Yeah.
I love a compliment better than
Yeah.
anybody. If somebody gives me a random compliment, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. You know, it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird feeling.
Yeah.
I'm getting more used to them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just a random, like, even something like, oh, I like your shirt. You know, it's an automatic confidence boost.
Yeah,
you know?
it really is.
So we do that for other people.
So you brought up something the other. Sorry, I just thought about that when you were talking about this. You said something the other day, and it made me think of, you know, sometimes it's hard to accept compliments, or you know, because you feel so bad about yourself. Right. And there was a moment in one of my group therapy where I was very down on myself for so many years, and so everybody was going around the room doing a compliment about me, and like bawling. I was bawling my eyes out because I didn't see that.
Right.
When I looked at me, I didn't see kind, gentle, loving. I saw shit, you know?
Right.
And so it's a beautiful thing when you can start touching that inside and say, no, what? No, I am a good person. I'm beautiful. I'm worth it. I matter.
Right.
You know, and for so many years, I didn't feel like that, you know? And it was, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm just, what makes us do this? I mean, I know trauma can do it and stuff like that, factors, but it's so damaging. You know, I would not talk to my children the way I talk to myself. So I would not talk to somebody I love the way I talk to myself sometimes.
Right.
And where did it get me all those years? It just kept me in a perpetual cycle of, you're not good enough, Kim. Right. You're never going to be good enough. You're never going to be fast enough, smart enough. You know, you name it, I'm never going to be any of it, you know?
And people will tell you self-love is selfish. But what I have found, what you're saying, I focus, when I hated myself, I focused 10 times more on me.
Yes.
Because I'm a piece of shit. I need to be fixed. Blah, blah, blah. Me. I'm horrible. I'm awful. But now that I love me, guess what? That energy is not so much like, oh, I love me. I'm so wonderful. You know, I put it out.
Yes.
Not only do I realize that people love me because I'm freaking lovable, and like, why wouldn't they? And I'm not trying to be arrogant, but like, I am lovable. And I can put it out towards other people and be like, you know what? I'm freeing myself. You know, I love me. I don't have to focus on me 24/7. I can say, I love you. I love, you know, and it's real. It's a lot more real.
Right.
You know, I'm less selfish than I ever have been.
Yes. And here's the thing, you know, like she said, you know, self-love, people look at it as selfishness. Right. And it can be.
Well, you can take it to an extreme.
Right. There's extremes. There are exceptions to every rule.
I was going to say, but even narcissists who are all about self, it's not about love. It's not about self-love. If you are obsessed with yourself, that's not self-love. You know what I'm saying? Narcissists are the worst about supposedly, but it's all deep insecurity, even in a narcissist, you know?
Well, yeah, because they've got to portray an image, portray an image that has not been, you know? I've got to be perfect.
Yeah.
And all, and narcissists, God love them, because I think they get a really bad rap in the mental health world. Nobody wants to hang around a narcissist.
Right.
But you know what? And we're all narcissists in some ways.
We really are.
I mean, if we weren't, would we have self preservation? You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's just taken to the extreme, and it comes from like insecurity. I've got to project this wonderful image of who I am because God forbid somebody see this sad, broken stuff inside of me.
Was I a narcissist?
I mean, I think we all are in some way, especially with trauma.
Because here's my question. Here's the thing I'm realizing. I have always tried to put this image of myself out there, and of course, I'm not a sex symbol. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I've got everything's got to be right. You know what I'm saying? And
you got to hide it from the outside world. Keep it in the family.
It's almost
the elephant in the room. You know,
like you're part of the mafia or something.
It really is.
You can't go outside the family to say what's going on. And it's
dysfunction breeds that denial.
Yeah.
You know. Oh no! So why do we think that nobody else needs to know that we're hurting? You know, why is that in us? Because we have this family system. I mean, everybody who's dysfunctional family that I know of has always been like, don't show it, don't show it. Right. Why are we so afraid to show our emotions?
Keep your secrets. Yeah. And listen, some secrets are good to keep.
Right.
I'm not saying
you don't want to tell it everybody in the world.
Right. But some things, listen, some of the best advice I have gotten, like during my hardest times of life, has been from somebody who's been in a similar situation to me and has come out of it. You know what I'm saying? And they had the guts to say, hey, look, I've been where you are, and here's the way I got out of it.
Yeah.
But you might not do it the exact way I did, because there's different ways to skin a cat. And that's what we're talking about here. What is your path to peace? It might not look like mine. It might not be church. It might not be meditation. It might not be any of that. But finding your own path is what we're trying to get to. But people who would say, I have been there. I have been in a very similar situation. Yeah. And I know it's dark, and I know you're hurting. But just hang on. There is a light at the end of this tunnel. But for somebody to be vulnerable with me to say, I've been there, and I've been in this trash can that you're in.
They shared their story.
Yes, and it
helps your story.
Because you're like, okay, I'm not doing this alone. Right. I'm not the only person on the face of this earth who's feeling what I'm feeling right this second. Because sometimes you feel so, like, I know in my thoughts, sometimes I'm like, I've got to be the only human on the face of this earth that feels this way. Yeah. And truly, I'm not.
Find out you're not. It's like, I follow there's a neurodivergent website, or not website, but a Facebook page. And I read this stuff and I'm like, I am not a freak. You know, like, even though I feel better about myself, like, there's still things, like, you know, that I think, well, nobody else does this.
Right.
But they do. And I'm like, oh, I fit. You know, I fit somewhere. And it's not that you have to fit in, but it's beautiful to know, like you said, you're not alone. To hear other people's stories and to be like,
no,
other people have experienced this.
Right. I am all about, I'm dropping stuff. hello. No, I am all about individuality. Yeah. I don't want a carbon copy of me, and I don't want us walking around like clones in any way, shape, or form. But to know you're not alone. Yeah. You know?
It's huge.
It is.
It really is. Because, and I think part of that, we talked about the denial in families and stuff, as part of that, when you don't share your story, and like we talk about in a safe space, you know, like, don't go broadcast everything. But if you can share in a safe place those wounds and stuff, and realize that other people experience it, it makes you feel less alone. Less alone. I used to feel like I would go to the partial hospital. I'm like, this is the only place I have ever been to where I feel like I really fit in.
Right.
And it's because we shared our pain and we didn't judge each other, and it was very open and loving, you know.
Right.
And there were some hard times. Obviously, we cried. But we felt like we could trust each other, and that we just had that human connection, intimacy, emotional intimacy.
Emotional intimacy is a big thing, and I don't think really most of the world is lacking it.
Oh yeah, most people.
I lack it.
Yeah,
I'm getting better with it.
We're getting better. Yeah.
You've lacked it. Yeah, you're getting better with it.
Yeah. And when you make that connection, it is such, you talk about pathway to peace.
Right.
At that instant, there are times when I've made a connection with somebody, and that peace and safety feeling is unmatchable, you know?
Yes. It is amazing to find somebody you're truly safe with. And you can say, here's all my warts, here's all my scars, and they accept you for who they are, for who you are. It is amazing. And you start to realize, when you start, for me, I can't speak for the collective whole, so this is for me. When I started to break down what makes me tick, the way I tick, it's also helped me, and I struggle with this because I am a justice person. If you do me wrong, or do somebody I love wrong, or do something, I want justice for you. You know, vengeance is mine. Saying, you know, that's been my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I am all about, let's get the bad guy. Yeah. And what I'm stopping to realize, there's bad guys in the world. I get that. But most of the time, those bad guys have been hurt deeply. Now, do we let them run free? And no, of course not. But you know what I'm saying? It's helping me to have a little more empathy for people that we don't even feel like they need it.
Yeah, and also, like you're talking about, like, I feel like peace, so not take the codependency factor, not taking the world's problems on my shoulders. You know? Yes. Not saying, oh, God, this is horrible, everything's wrong, I've got to fix it so I can be okay. No, I'm separate. Yes. You know, like, y'all do your thing. Not that I'm mad, not that I don't want to be helpful, but I can't fix it. And so I don't have to have that weight, that responsibility of the world, like, on me.
That
brings a lot of peace.
That is huge when you start realizing that I'm standing alone right here. No matter how much family and friends surround me.
Right.
I am my own
Yeah.
castle.
You're an
almost.
island.
I'm an island, not a castle.
Well, you can be a castle.
I'm a
It's okay to
castle.
be a castle.
But today, no,
Yeah.
you really are your own island.
Yeah.
And that's not selfish
No,
to say that.
It's not.
And that's where we mess up because we're taught. I'll just say we're taught in a
roundabout kind of way.
A roundabout
not
kind
a
of way.
direct.
No, in a roundabout kind of way. Well, when you're raised in church, I'm just going to
Right.
throw it
Well,
out
no,
there.
you're right.
When you're raised in church, and I don't think it's meant to be this way. It's just conditioning of what we've all been taught.
Yeah.
Don't be selfish.
Right.
It's all about your fellow man.
Yeah.
You're a piece of crap anyway. So there's no need for you to be selfish
Right.
anyway. But selfishness and loving yourself
Right.
is just almost frowned upon.
It really
because you're taught without, and I don't think it is meant. I think
No,
it's
I don't
just,
think it's malicious
No,
intent.
no,
but
no.
it is taught.
it's just it's muscle memory. It's
Yeah.
what your Sunday school teacher was taught by her Sunday school teacher, by
Right.
her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a trickle down, and you're taught you're inherently bad
Right.
from the beginning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how in the world, if I'm inherently bad from the beginning, is there anything good inside of me?
No, that's totally not true. As little kids, we're born innocent. I mean, yeah, like a little kid will lie and they'll say, well, that's automatically sin. This little kid doesn't know that's wrong.
No, a kid doesn't know
Yeah.
what sin is.
Like, that's
they're just
not-
trying
yeah,
not to go to time out for spilling their sippy cup,
Exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah, and to learn that each one of us is responsible for ourselves. I'm responsible for my emotions. I'm not responsible for yours, and you're not responsible for mine.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
That's where I was trying to go to, and I think I
Okay.
just went totally off track. No, I don't know. Y'all, I got officially diagnosed with ADHD. Just
Yay!
to say, yay!
We're neurodivergent.
Yay! No, I'm official. I've got both types. I've got the inattentive and the hyper type. So I'm trying to get better. No, we'll see. But anyway, where was I talking about?
Your castle. Your castle.
My castle. I'm an island. I'm a castle.
I keep messing with this microphone.
We don't even know if our microphones are working. We're just, we're having fun.
You're a rock. You're a castle.
I'm
Okay.
an island. Really. No, little kids though. I will tell you,
right.
I work with little kids. I
Yeah.
work with kids between the ages of 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Cutest things on earth. And I can tell you, their brain is not processing when they see a toy they want of
Yeah.
another friend. I'm going to go sin and steal that toy.
Yeah.
They're almost like, God love them, they're almost like little animals. They just run on instinct at that
They really
age. You
do.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
they don't know. They
Right.
haven't learned.
they're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to go take it. They're taking something because they want it. It's like, I've got to have that. It's not, oh, I'm going to go get little Fred over here and steal his toy because I'm an asshole. It's just,
I love it. And well, Jesus says to come to the kingdom like a little child.
Yes.
So that tells you right there. Children are innocent. We're not born inherently bad. We're
No.
just not.
we're not.
We're taught bad.
Well,
you
we're
know,
taught
and
bad.
not even intentionally sometimes. We just learn, you know.
And guess what? Sometimes we're put in bad environments
Yeah.
and our survival instincts
Kick in.
kick in.
Yeah.
And sometimes our survival instincts are bad.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
so,
I hate to say bad, but
well,
they're
no,
not.
They're not healthy.
They're not healthy.
Because
And they trickle.
yeah, and what they, well, sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
you're fine.
In therapy, we've been taught, like, yeah, those things that we learned, those coping skills kept us alive.
Yes.
But now that we're older, they're maladaptive, right?
Right. That's the
They're
word.
hurting. Yeah, maladaptive coping
See,
skills. They're
I'll
hurting us now.
Oh,
you know, we
I
have to.
get in trouble in therapy because I'm like, that's bad or that's good. And he's like, no. Maladaptive, healthy, unhealthy.
Right,
And I'm like,
right.
no, bad, good, bad. Because that's how I am. I
That's
am.
what you learned too.
Yes.
I mean, really, we learned that. Okay, so sadness is a bad feeling, but it's not.
No,
it's okay to feel that. It's anger. Yeah, it's okay to be angry. It's
Yes,
normal and natural.
It's how you handle it.
Yes.
Oh, I've got a quick temper. And
Oh.
I don't like that about me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can get pissed quicker than
Yeah.
anybody. If you push my wrong button
Right.
and I don't handle it well,
Yeah.
is me getting mad bad? No.
No.
But is me going and punching a wall?
Right.
That's bad.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I'm too old. I mean,
Right.
but you know what I'm saying?
I've done it. Yeah,
I have in the past, but I'm old and delicate now. Yeah, I'm spitting too. You see that spit fly? But no, if I'm mad,
Yeah.
and I go yell at my kid,
Right.
because I'm just frustrated, and I've done that before.
Yeah.
I mean,
think we all have taken
like
it
I'll
out
be
on
upset about something, and one of them will do something innocently,
something.
and I take it out on them.
Yeah.
That is not right.
Right.
That is not right. It's okay for me to feel mad. It's
Right.
okay to have that emotion. I'm human.
Well, and if you allow yourself in a safe space to feel that, then maybe it won't build up to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, because I've taken stuff out on people before, and I think if we feel the stuff when, I mean, not that you can always feel it when it comes,
Right.
You know, if we allow ourselves over time to feel that anger, we're not as likely to project it onto
Right.
others.
You almost got to have like trigger therapy.
Yeah,
that's what I've been doing with myself. I'm not going to say.
We talked about this.
I'm not going to say what I'm doing. I don't want to be rude to somebody, but I'm going back and doing some stuff that I swore I'd never do, just where I won't get triggered so bad. Does that make sense? Like I'm doing shock.
So you'll
therapy.
be triggered and you can process.
Yes, I'm doing
advance.
shock therapy on myself.
Yeah, it's like advanced, like. I don't know. Like, let's get pissed off and then work through it.
Yes.
And that way, the next time it happens, maybe we won't be as pissed off.
Yes, that's what I am trying to do because I am so like outside of therapy. If you give me a false scenario, you know what I'm saying? Okay, Kim, this happens. How do you handle it? I can give you the textbook. This is how my therapist taught me how to do it, and this is really what works. And if you put it into practice, it's amazing. But in the moment,
right? That's what. Yeah,
it's just like muscle memory comes in, and takes over, and it's like I'm going to kill you all.
It takes practice. Yeah. It does, lots of it. Because I'm the same way, and I've been in it, and I know, like, while I'm in my therapy, I do great. Like, it's real one-on-one. Like, your brain just goes, "What the hell am I supposed to do with this?"
You go back to what's normal.
You do, absolutely.
And if you've had years and years and years of maladaptive coping mechanisms, it's just automatic to go back to them.
Yeah.
And I tell you, though, my husband will call me out on them. That's what's really funny. It's like he's gotten smart with therapy, and he's not even in it, but, like, I've shared things with him. And I need it, though, because, like, we'll get in, like, little arguments or whatever, and I will revert back to, you know, and he's like, but wait a minute. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, shut up. And he'll give me the advice that I have shared with him. Yeah. Right. And it does help. It hurts. It stings in a minute because you know when you're on a pedestal of justice and righteousness, and you're the right. You're on the right. You've been hurt, so your emotions and your reactions are valid in your mind, right? And somebody says, "Hey, look, you're not handling this good." Yeah, it hurts.
It does,
but it helps also.
And that's why I do so well in group therapy because people will call you. We always say, "Call you on your shit." But, like, they do, and not in a mean way, you know, not in a codependent way either, you know, like, just tell somebody your truth, like, hey, I feel like you're not handling this, and you know, whatever. Right. But for somebody to tell you that truth, and you be like, oh, I think you're right, you know? Right. And it does, it'll piss you off, it'll make you sometimes hurt. But, like, when you come back to it, you're like, okay, yeah, I could change from that.
Growing pains. Do you remember having growing pains when you were a kid?
Yes,
they were awful. Yeah. My son just had some a couple of weeks ago, but his legs were just killing him. Yeah, and I'm like, those are growing pains, and they suck, but they're going to make you taller and stronger. Right. Mental growing pains almost. So we go through growing pains throughout life, physically, mentally. Yeah. And part of getting to a path of peace is you're going to go through some growing pains, and you are going to take 2 steps back. Like I've been, for the past couple of weeks, I've been like on a good trajectory. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, got it. Where's my certificate of completion? You know, I am mentally and perfectly healthy. But who knows what's going to trip me up, you know?
Well, and that's something I was thinking about. Like, so, you know, these days, my peace is a lot better than it's ever been in my entire life. But it's been a struggle this week. I hurt my knee, and then I broke my toe.
Yeah, she's got a broken toe.
Yeah. And it's been frustrating because I haven't worked in like a week, and I like to work now. You know, I enjoy. I mean, I don't work full time, but I enjoy it. It helps me, and so I haven't been able to get out and do my normal stuff. So I've been having a stressful week, and I'm like, I was all kind of getting twisted up, and then yesterday I was like, you know what? It's gonna be okay. Like, there's no reason for me to sit here and dwell on this in agony. I'm going to get better.
You are.
You know, it takes time sometimes to heal. And even if I didn't, you know, God is going to work this out. Or the universe, whatever. He's in control. I really feel like if I trust my Creator, and things will work how they're supposed to. Right. You know, and I have to do my part, obviously. But,
right. You can't just sit there and be like, all right.
Okay, fix me. Everything's going to be
Bring me all the good stuff. I'm going to sit here and drink coffee until it happens. No.
I wish it would have. No.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? You know, I need $1 million. You know, it doesn't work that way. you've got to help yourself.
Right.
And we're taught, whether you look at it from a religious standpoint, spirituality, whatever, truly, nobody is magically going to come down from the sky and fix you.
No. You're in charge of yourself. You
Yes.
are responsible for your healing, for your emotions, for your trauma. You're not saying you caused your trauma, but you're the only one that can help you heal from it.
Right.
I mean, yeah, therapy's a tool, but you have to do the work. You have to put in that hard work. And it is hard work. And it's brave. We've talked about that
Yes,
before.
listen, my husband and I were having a conversation this week here, and we were talking about just with the winds blowing. We were talking about something on me. We were talking about, basically, I'm not going to share his story because but kind of his childhood and stuff. And basically how shit rolls downhill.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, it does. And until you're the one that says, the shit stops right here.
Right. It stops with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is scary, but it takes guts.
Oh, yeah.
It takes more guts to say, I am done living this way than it does to keep living it.
Yeah.
It does. And it can be ugly.
Yeah. But
I've cried more in the past 6 months than I've probably cried my entire life.
You know, it's crazy. It is. But it has been so, like, my thing was I was always so afraid to show my feelings in front of people, you know? And it's been a beautiful experience for me to openly cry and weep in front of these people that accept me.
Right.
And that's a beautiful feeling. And so now I'm not as afraid. Like, this is a normal human emotion.
Right.
You know?
Why are we taught that emotions are bad?
Right.
I mean, that can be another podcast because we're running out of time on this one. But, oh my gosh, that was a quick 30 minutes.
Feel your feelings, people.
Yes, and find your path to peace.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. You don't have to do it like Mary does it or Kim does it. There are different ways to skin a cat. I don't know if that's appropriate to say these days. We're not really going to skin a cat. There's an old saying for you young folks.
Yeah, some of the young people may not see
it. But there are different ways to achieve peace. You don't have to do it the way I did it or the way I'm doing it. I don't know that I'm there yet, but I'm getting. You know what I'm saying? There's
a lot of different paths.
Yes, whether it be therapy, whether it be, you can get on YouTube right here and you can look up people that can help you with positive affirmations, whatever you need. There's
a lot of different paths, but the main thing is you've got to put your work in. You've got to put it, it's in your hands to, and I'm not saying God can't help, I believe that, but you still have to put your hands to the plow, so to speak.
Yes.
And say, you know what, if I'm going to change, I have to be the one leading it.
Getting better is worth it.
It is 100%.
It is worth it because it changes your relationships with people in positive ways.
Oh, absolutely.
You and I have gotten over this past almost year. I mean, we've been close our entire friendship. Like when we met, it was just like, okay,
we're cool.
We're cool.
Like each other.
We're each other's people, you know.
But we've gone to a new level.
Yes.
And it's because we're able to be emotionally present in a way we've never been.
I'll give you a quick story, even though we're a little over. A few weeks ago, we recorded a podcast, and we ended up not sharing it because it got uncomfortable for us both. Not during it, but afterwards, we both kind of were like,
Yeah.
We had to talk about it. A year ago, 2 years ago, we would have we would have been butthurt and just, you know.
And not talk about it.
And walking on eggshells. And pretending like it didn't exist. But when this happened, we sat down and we had a real conversation and shared each other's feelings. We cried, you know, and we come to a resolution. And we realized we were both being codependent as we could be.
Because what we learned, obviously, still takes time
We
to
went
change.
back to that behavior. But we were able to say, okay.
Let's tell our truth, discuss this, open up and show our feelings to each other and become closer.
And we had a very good conversation about that. And we realized we're not as far apart as we realize on some things, you know? So don't be scared to share your truth. No,
it's even some of the hardest truth to tell is some of the most beautiful ways to begin a new healthy relationship with somebody.
You can never truly fully be present with somebody unless you're present with yourself.
That's 100% right there.
So, hey, thanks for joining us on the Real Back Porch today.
And now we had Real Back Porch and we're video.
Yes, so we're cooking with gas at this point. Thank y'all so much for joining in, and see y'all next week.
It's great to see you. Have fun.
I got to get up and press the button. Bye, everybody.